video is a little bit different. If you guys remember, I'm a second grade teacher and we are actually in my classroom right now. And I let my students rate the books that we read this year. So we went through some of the picture books and some of the chapter books that we read this year, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about them and what the kids ended up rating them, and if I should read them again, or if you should read them. The first book we have is Fly Guy and the Frankenfly, and this is a whole series about Fly Guy. He's a little fly, and he has an owner named Buzz, and Buzz and Fly Guy go on adventures together. So this one was about, they were reading a bedtime story and Fly Guy had this dream that he and Buzz were monsters, basically. And the kids love these books. They're going to be mad because I went to the teacher store and I got like a whole stack of Fly Guy books to read to next year's kids. So sorry. They rated this book a 4-star and they said that I should read Fly Guy again. The next couple books we have are all by the same author, by Kevin Hanks. The first one we have is Chester's Way. And this one's about Chester, and he has a best friend named Wilson. They're best friends, besties, and one day a new girl moves to town. And so they're trying to figure out how life will be with this new kid in town. And the kids liked this one. They rated this one a 4-star, and they said that I should read it again. The next book we have by this author is Wemberly Worried. And this one is about Wemberly, and she is a worrywart. She worries about everything. And so in this book, it's her first day of school, and she's, as you can probably imagine, she's very nervous about it. And it just tells her story about, how she gets through that first day, those first couple days of school, and how she gets through the first few days of school. They also rated this one a 4-star, and they said that I should read it again. And the last book we have by this author is Lily's Purple Plastic Purse. And this one is about Lily, and she one day gets a new purse, and it has a whole bunch of fun stuff inside of it, and she decides to take it to school with her. Now, this is all fine and dandy, but her teacher told her to put her purse away, and Lily decided that it was going to become a distraction. So when her teacher said, put it away, I'm going to take it away, Lily got mad, and it talks about, how Lily coped with losing her things and then how she and her teacher worked it out at the end. And they loved this one. They ranked this one actually a 5-star read, and they said I should read it again. Our next couple books are the crayon books. So we have The Day the Crayons Quit and The Day the Crayons Came Home. And they love these books. They rated both of these a 5-star. The crayon books are about a box of crayons, and each page is a letter from a different crayon to their owner, Duncan. And they just talk about how life is living with Duncan and how frustrated they are. Some of them are with the life that they're living. Like Blue here. He's very frustrated because Duncan colors everything blue, and he's just a little nub now. But then there's crayons like Pink Crayon, who barely gets used and who wants to be used more. So Duncan receives all these letters one day, and it makes him think about how he uses his crayons to color. This book, The Day the Crayons Came Home, is the sequel to The Day the Crayons Quit, and it's, again, a whole bunch of letters to Duncan about the many adventures that crayons ultimately take throughout their lives. So it's a cute read. Again, the kids loved these books. All right, the next book we have is a pigeon book, and this one is Pigeon Wants to Ride the Roller Coaster, and they love the pigeon books. I actually read this one to them at the beginning of the year, and then Mr. Denniston came in and reread it to them at the end of the year, and they loved it. They thought it was a 5-star read. They said, yes, we need to read these again. This one is about Pigeon, and Pigeon wants to ride a roller coaster, so it just, gives all of Pigeon's emotions as he is traveling through this roller coaster experience. Then, by the same author, Mo Willems, we have four Elephant and Piggy books. So we have Should I Shine My Ice Cream? Are You Ready to Play Outside? I Am a Frog. And we have A Big Guy Took My Ball. And they love Elephant and Piggy. We have Gerald the Elephant and Piggy the Piggy. They're just little cute books where Gerald and Piggy go on different adventures. and it talks about, their experiences and all of that. And I think they like it because when I read, I do all the voices and all the actions, and it's just a good time. We have a good time with them. They rated these all 5 stars and said, yes, we need to read more Elephant and Piggy, and I need to read these again next year to my kids. All right, we have the Bad Seed books. If you don't know this series, it all started with the Bad Seed and the Good Egg. The Bad Seed is about this seed, and he is having a rough life, okay? So it starts out where he is just annoyed at everything. And then something happens to him, so he reevaluates his life, and by the end of it, he's still, he still has his ways, but he's a changed seed. We have the Good Egg, which again is about this egg. He starts his life, he is like the best egg out of the bunch, out of his little carton, and then something happens, and he thinks, wait, why am I this good, right? So he again, it's all about, having your life, something big changes, and then let's reevaluate and see if this is really the life that we want to live. Those were so popular that we had to get the Smart Cookie, the Cool Bean, the Couch Potato, and the Great Eggscape. And these all, again, about these characters, about these vegetables, foods, whatever you want to call them. They have something going on in their life, and they try and change for the better. The kids rated all of these 5 stars. They said, yes, these are some of our favorites. You need to read them again next year. We have one more picture book pile, one more author we're going to talk about, and then we'll get to the chapter books. These are books by Robert Munsch, and he was one of my favorite authors when I was in 2nd grade, so I have made it my mission to collect not all of his books, but a lot of his books and read them this year, and they loved them. So first, we have 4 that we're going to talk about today. I know we read more, but we're only going to talk about 4. First, we have Thomas's Snowsuit, and this one is about little Thomas. One day his mom bought him a nice little snowsuit, right? Thomas did not like his snowsuit, and he did not want to wear it. So as we go throughout the book, we see Thomas in his snowsuit, and he does not look happy. And then he says that I am not going to wear this snowsuit to school. Somehow, his mom ends up in the snowsuit, and he ends up in his mom's clothes. Don't know how that happened. And then by the end, this keeps on happening throughout the book, is people just keep on switching clothes. And then by the end of the book, I believe everybody is back in the correct order. So it takes him through his school day, takes him through, all this whole switcheroo, and we see how Thomas reacts to it all. They ended up rating this one a 4.5 stars, and they said, yes, I should read this one again. Then we have Stephanie and her ponytail. And this was another favorite. They rated this one 5 stars, said, yes, we need to read it again. And part of that reason is because as I was reading it, I was acting it out. So this one's about Stephanie, and Stephanie's mom puts her hair in a nice little ponytail. And she goes to school, and everybody is making fun of her ponytail. But then, the next day, guess what? Yep, everybody in the school decided to put their hair in a ponytail. So once Stephanie realizes this, she does a little trickery, right? She has her little side ponytail, she has a top ponytail, she has a front ponytail, and each day, her classmates and even her teacher and even her principal starts to copy her hairstyle until the very end, when Stephanie does a little trickery. She tricks them. And you have to read the book to find out what she does. But again, they loved this one. Again, I think it was because I actually, put my hair into the ponytails for them. This was another one where we had to reread. I read this at the beginning, middle of the year, and we had to reread it at the end of the year. Then we have Mud Puddle, and Mud Puddle was my favorite book, one of my favorite books when I was their age, so I had to read it to them. It is about Jewel Ann, and Jewel Ann gets dressed one day. She's looking all nice and pretty, and then suddenly a mud puddle just jumps on her in her backyard. And she goes in and she's like, Mom, a mud puddle jumped on me. So she gets all cleaned up again. She goes back outside, and guess what happens? Yep, that mud puddle jumps on her again. So this keeps on happening. And then Jewel Ann decides, wait, let's think this through. How can I stop this mud puddle? And by the end of the story, she finds a way to stop that mud puddle from jumping on her. They rated this one a 5 star, and they said, yes, I should read this one again to my class. And then the last Robert Munsch book we have is Purple, Green, and Yellow. And they loved this one too. This was another one we had to reread at the end of the year. This one is about Bridget, and Bridget wants these coloring markers. Okay, so she asks her mom, Mom, can I have, just the plain old schmain old coloring markers? Mom buys her coloring markers. She colors them. She gets bored with them. She goes and she says, Mom, can I have the smelly coloring markers? So Mom buys her the smelly coloring markers. Bridget goes. She colors with them. She gets bored with them. Then she says, Mom, can I have the super indelible, never come off to your dead, and maybe even later coloring markers? So after a little bit of a debate, Mom says, sure, I'll buy you these markers as long as the only thing you're coloring on is your paper. So Mom goes out and buys Bridget these super indelible, never come off to your dead, and maybe even later coloring markers. Bridget takes them, she colors on her paper, and then one day she decides, paper's not, we're just gonna try to color on something besides the paper. And you know what she ends up doing? She ends up taking these markers and she colors her whole entire body. And then she's like, wait, these are not the right markers to color my body with. So then we find out how she solves her problem in this story. And it's pretty good. Again, they rated this one a 5-star. They said, yes, we need to read it again. I think I said this, but we had to reread this one at the end of the school year too. All right, those are a lot of the picture books that we read throughout the school year. Now we have a couple chapter books that we also read. Most every day at the end of the school day, they got, packed up and we read a couple chapters of a book. So the first couple books we read were the Wayside School books. We have Sideways Stories from Wayside School, and we have Wayside School Gets a Little Stranger. And there was another one in there too. I don't know where it went. But these ones are about Wayside School and the way Wayside School was built. It's 30 classrooms, but instead of, one story with 30 classrooms, like sideways, like a normal building would be, it's 30 stories with one classroom on each story. So each chapter, especially in this one, goes through, the whole series is about a class. I think there's a second grade class actually, first or second grade class, Mrs. Jules's class. And the first book goes through each of the students in her class and tells, a little bit about them. And then we get to the other two books and it tells more about, the general classroom environment and different shenanigans that these kids and their teacher and their principal and all the school staff get up to. So there's 3 books in the series. The third one is Wayside School is Falling Down. They loved these books. These were the first 3 books that we read way back in August and September. They kept mentioning different things from these books as the school year went on. I think they rated them between a 4 and a 5-star for all 3 of them, and they said yes, I should read these books again. Then we read another series of books the second semester of school. The first one we read was The One and Only Ivan. This one is about Ivan. Ivan is a gorilla and he lives in basically like a circus type thing. It's not a very nice environment he's living in, but he makes friends with an elephant named Stella, an elephant named Ruby, and a dog named Bob. So these 4 characters get into some shenanigans. We kind of go throughout their life and how they deal with different events that happen. At the end of the book, we kind of wrap it all up. They rated this one, I think, a 4.5 star, and they liked this one so much that they made me go to the store and they made me get The One and Only Bob, the sequel to The One and Only Ivan. And this one followed Ivan, this one follows Bob. Okay, so Bob was the dog, and this one's light and fluffy and cute. This one was emotional at times. This one is about Bob, and it tells about Bob's adventure. It talks about Bob's backstory and how he kind of met Ivan and how they became friends. And now that Ivan and Ruby are somewhere else, it talks about how Bob visits them, and they're still best friends. And then they were upset because there's a 3rd book, The One and Only Ruby, but it just came out in June. And obviously, with school ending in May, we didn't have time to read it. But I'm sure that they would have made me buy that book too. They were already talking about it, and I had to, break the news that we wouldn't be able to read it this year. But they liked these ones. It was a cute little series. Okay, so those are most of the books that we read this year and what my students rated them. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I know it was a little bit different, but I thought it would be fun, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you keep reading because I know I will. Thank you for watching Nessie Reads.